McCall, an ACE-certified personal trainer. I want to talk to you for a moment about some of the benefits of strength training to improve muscles, specifically the balance of muscle forces within our body. First, let me start by telling you a little story. Many years ago, when I was a young man in my early 20s, the years began with a 1 and a 9, I played very competitive club rugby. This was before I got in the fitness industry, so a lot of my workout information came from the popular bodybuilding magazines. Our rugby team trained on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I was in the gym one night doing a workout. Turns out another guy I played rugby with was there, and he was from New Zealand. And as towards the end of my workout, he came up to me and goes, "Hey Mike, I need to talk to you for a minute." Kiwis talk with a slightly different accent we do. He goes, "Mike, I noticed your workout, and I have to say, you're working on mirror muscle. You're not working on your sport muscle." Now what he meant was, at the time, it was Monday night. What do you think I was doing? I was probably doing a lot of bench press, probably doing a lot of bicep curls, working on the muscles I could really see in the mirror. I wasn't working on the muscles that would help me become a better rugby player on the field. It was about a year, maybe 2 years later, when I earned my ACE personal trainer certification, and I really understood the power of his words. Our bodies are meant to move. Muscles generate force to create that movement. This is one reason why the American Council on Exercise created the integrated fitness training model of exercise program design. We want to give you a specific system of how to design exercise programs based on how the body moves. So muscles, Dr. Cedric Bryant refers to them as the engines of the body. What they do is they generate force. Now think about it. If you had a boat and you put all the engines on one side of the boat, what do you think is going to happen to that boat? That boat's probably going to turn around in circles and not go very far, right? Well, the body is sort of the same way. If we focus on all the muscles that we see in the mirror, then what's going to happen is all the muscles we see in the mirror are going to pull the body forward. Very common. Bench press and rows. Interesting thing about the chest, the pec muscles and the lat muscles attach at almost the same spot on the humerus. So if somebody's doing a lot of bench press and pulling, a lot of bench press and rows, they create internal rotation, which could cause that shoulder to rotate forward. At the same time, if the only core exercises they do are to do crunches, the rectus abdominis attaches from the rib cage to the pelvis. If that muscle becomes tighter, again, it pulls the body forward. This is one reason why movement and teaching the 5 foundational patterns of movement is a key stage of the integrated fitness training model. The 5 basic patterns of movement are hinge and squat patterns. That's where the body, the hips are creating flexion and extension. You see in the article, most of our clients spend a lot of their days seated, so what happens, these muscles on the front become very tight, and as a result, these muscles become a little bit what we call inhibited. They're not able to generate as much force. So if we train a hinge pattern, whether we're laying on the ground doing a glute bridge or a hip thrust, or standing doing a hip hinge or a squat, if we train a hinge pattern, we're training all these muscles to work together to control movement at the hip. Now, one thing that many people overlook is that the hamstrings, we often learn the hamstrings flex the knee. That's what the hamstrings can do when the foot is off the ground. But when the foot is on the ground and we're walking, the hamstrings help extend the knee. So when we look at exercise, single leg exercises like reverse lunges or single leg squats or split squats, what we're doing is we're using the hamstrings and the quadriceps together. We're creating balance by training the movement patterns. The same thing is true with pushing and pulling movements. We want to integrate these muscles. Now, one thing I learned long ago was that when I have clients do pushing and pulling, I try to have them do it from a standing position. Now, keep in mind that a lot of my clients are never going to step on a bodybuilding stage. They just aren't. And I'm lucky if they're working out and they're doing strength training 2 or 3 times a week. So when I look at it, when I design strength training programs, I want them to focus on movement because movement patterns use many muscles working together. The more muscles we use, the more calories we burn. So when I look at pushing and pulling exercises, I have clients try to do that from a standing position, again, to create balance in the body. When the feet are planted on the ground and the arms are pushing or pulling, what do you think is creating stability? All the deep stabilizer muscles, our hips, our legs. Compare that to having a client lie on a bench or sit in a machine. that can create an imbalance of forces. Yes, a lot of our clients have aesthetic goals, and yes, we can use isolation training, but think about building a house. What's the first thing you're going to do when you build a house? Is the first thing you're going to do go pick out curtains and go design the landscaping? No. When you build a house, we need to lay a foundation and build a solid structure. That's what movement pattern training allows you to do. That's what following the IFT model allows you to do. You create a solid foundation of muscular strength in the body, teaching the patterns of hinge, single leg, push, pull, rotation. Create a solid foundation of muscle balance and strength for movement efficiency. Once a client becomes more skilled, once a client is exercised on a regular basis, then you can go pick out the curtains and go design the landscaping, meaning then you can go do muscle isolation programs to work on specific muscle areas. But when we're first starting to work with clients, especially clients that may have been working out on their own for a while, we need to look at their body, we need to do an assessment and find out where are the imbalances. Because our job as a fitness professional, our job as an ACE certified personal trainer is to help our clients improve their lives through exercise. And one of the ways we do that is by helping them create balance of muscular strength within the body. So just a brief sample exercise program. I use this with a lot of my clients. If there are no major injuries, no pre-existing conditions, I like to start on the floor with basic glute bridges. What the glute bridges do is engage the glutes, work on hip extension, work on force production, and increase range of motion of the hips. If clients are sitting all day, these muscles become very tight and these muscles become inhibited. So what we need to do is we need to engage them. And when we look at it, the glute bridge is a perfect hip flexor stretch. So if clients are seated all day doing the glute bridge, we activate these muscles, strengthen knees while stretching knees. That's one of the first exercises. One of the second exercises I have clients do are a high plank position. Push the hands into the ground, push the back up to the ceiling. Here's a little secret. If you want clients to really engage the core, it starts here at the hand. There are a lot of nerve endings here. These nerve endings tie right into the shoulder and right into the spine. So if you want clients to engage the core, push those hands down, push the back up. So we have lying on the ground as a hinge pattern. A high plank position here is a push pattern. So what's one of the next things I have a client do? Well, I might have a client do a simple little on their hands and knees, what I call thoracic rotation, a rotation pattern. But this is a combination of a pull, I'm pulling back with the shoulder while pushing the hand down to the ground. So we have a glute bridge, we have a high plank, we have a thoracic rotation. That's the basic movements on the ground. And then what do? I have clients stand up. When we stand, we use more muscles. I have them do standing cable presses, one arm at a time. That engages all these muscles here. As soon as they get stability there, we go into a suspension trainer. I love the suspension trainer because yes, they get the push, but they get the stability here. I don't work with many high school athletes. I don't work with many people who need to bench press. The reality is that doing a lot of bench press could injure the shoulders, especially for people that sit and type all day on their computers. So have them do a standing cable press, have them do a standing suspension row, have them do a standing row. Bent over row, hinge at the hips. We're creating this hinge pattern and we're pulling. We're getting those arms involved. One key thing about doing a row, we want to keep those palms up. We have the radius and the ulna, so the palm is up, they're balanced. If we do a row with the palms down in a pronated position, we cross that radius over the ulna, and that creates tightness here right through the elbow, what's called a pronator quadratus. So, basic exercise program, glute bridge, high plank, that quadruped thoracic rotation, stand up, some type of suspension or some type of standing push, suspension push up or standing push exercise, a bent over row or standing cable pull exercise. Love lunges, especially reverse lunges. When we do a reverse lunge, we sink back into the hip, we activate the glutes, and we get the hamstrings and quadriceps working together. And then finally for rotation, I like to use medicine balls and we go rotate hip to shoulder, hip to shoulder. We want it, if you notice my feet are turning, my spine is staying relatively straight. The rotation comes from the hips and the feet. Using these movement patterns uses all the muscles together and creates that balance of forces in the body. We're going to build a solid foundation. The stronger the clients become, guess what? That's when they are working on the landscaping. That's when they are picking the exterior colors. So when I look at designing exercise programs, if my clients are seated all day, when they're with me, I want them on their feet as much as possible. I want them moving. I want them using all their muscles together. Now here's the thing, as we do that, guess what they do? They burn more calories and they end up getting the physique they want. And we don't need to spend a lot of time doing muscle isolation exercises. We're bringing this information to you because we want you to be successful. The more you can help your clients reach their goals, the more success you'll have. Thanks for stopping by.